Morning, Raptor Freak. Alexiot's here. Thursday morning, we're playing Detroit here in Toronto. Last game of 3 games in this season against Detroit. Both games we have lost to Detroit this year, and they're one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference. And it's just that they got our kryptonite. The first game we lost to them earlier this season was closer, but we got kind of edged out by the refs in different ways. It kind of got screwed. And then we lost. And then the last one was that embarrassing, really bad loss in Detroit where we got blown out and we just looked so bad. We had to look in the mirror. And the next day we came out and we got punched in the face by Bobby Portis. And we decided not to take it no more. And we stood up to the Milwaukee Bucks and beat them in a really great game. So we haven't seen them since that time that we got routed by them before we beat Milwaukee the next day. So a lot has changed with our team since we've seen Detroit. And it's really going to be interesting. I'd like to see us come out, obviously, a lot of intensity and energy because we have to match Detroit with that because that's what they're all about is being scrappy, energy, rebounding, defense. It's a lot of the same stuff that we do. And it's just that we got to be the team that does it better tonight. That is the reason why they do so well against us. It's like we're looking in the mirror and it's just that they're hungrier and younger in some weird ways. They beat us. And we can't let that happen tonight. So it's going to be real interesting. Raymond Jacob already here with me right away. Let's see, not to be a downer, but I got this feeling Casey wins again. He must be stopped. Oh my gosh, Raymond Jacob. You know, your prediction, I would say that it's pessimistic, but this is the kind of thing like this game is like when you're a bomb diffuser and you're going in, you got to cut the right wires and it could go off at any time. This is the kind of risk we have when we play Detroit. This is never an easy game for us, and we should never, ever look at their record and say, wow, this is going to be an easy game because there's some reason with the matchups. And also, you know, Detroit's been doing this all year. For some reason, Casey really loves to get his teams up against other Eastern Conference teams that are doing really well because they have wins over Miami. They've beaten Cleveland a few times recently. They beat Boston. They beat the big Eastern Conference teams because they get taken lightly and they out energy and outwork them. And that's the one thing we can't have tonight here in the Scotiabank Arena, that we don't want to get swept for the season by the Detroit Pistons. And if they win and beat us tonight, that's what's going to happen. So we can't let that happen. And we got to continue to climb and get closer and closer to Boston and Philadelphia and Cleveland and get further away from Brooklyn and the teams below us. So it's going to be a test. Raymond Jacobs saying, laugh out loud, we need to unleash the beast, Svi, tonight. Oh my gosh. Raymond is referring to what happened in Mississauga last night. I did not get to watch the game because they have some sort of weird viewing rights with ESPN Plus, and it's really they got to fix this because ESPN Plus is not available in Canada, y'all. You can't get it unless you get some crazy, really expensive package. So to watch the 905 game last night was you couldn't do it if you're in Canada, and I really wish I could have seen what he did. Because Svi put on a 40 piece last night. Oh, yeah, he dropped 40 points in that 905 game last night. He hit 7 threes. He was just looking really badass. I saw some of the highlights just now this morning, and it looked like he was catching and shooting off the dribble and coming up in transition. He was catching and shooting off the pass, and it just really is a good confidence booster. This was so intelligent and smart by the coaching staff of the Raptors, by Svi to say, yes, I am a 4-year player, but I would like to go down to 905 and have a rehab game real quick and get that confidence. Because honestly, this is the kind of shit that will do this. He does this in 905 in Mississauga last night against the Skyhawks. He comes back to Toronto tonight and plays on the main roster. Hopefully he plays tonight because honestly, Detroit's the kind of team that he could actually get minutes in against and do some good damage for us. So let's look for Svi to actually maybe get a chance on the court tonight on top of what he did for Mississauga last night. And hopefully he's successful at the NBA level also. And we can finally get him back off the bench and being a contributor for the shooter we need off the bench, because this is the time for it. And we need this kind of heroic story. He's not just doing it for himself and his career at this point. He's playing for something bigger than the sport at this point with what's going on right now. So I love it. I love that idea. I hope they do unleash Svi tonight against Detroit. Give them a chance, Nick, and see if some good stuff starts to happen. Oh, yeah. Scott, good morning, Scott Burville. Always glad to see old names I hadn't seen in a couple weeks, and glad you come back and circle around and check in with the Raptor Freak at the Raptor Freak channel. We are setting up the game tonight against Coach Casey and the Detroit Pistons. This is always a tough one. There is Canadian content coming back to see us here in Toronto tonight. Yeah, Kelly Olynyk and Corey Joseph will be playing tonight. Olynyk was hurt the last couple times we played against Detroit, but he has been back for them, and he is playing at a pretty high level for what he can do as far as himself and his career at this point. So we need to watch out for Kelly Olynyk. He is annoying. He is such a pest around the basket. He is dirty. He will play in a dirty kind of way, in a physical kind of way that we need to match. Maybe we hit him and push him around a little bit early before he gets a chance to do it to us. Scott's saying Raptors win tonight. Believe and achieve. Believe to achieve. Oh, yeah. I feel like I'm back at the Scholastic Fair at my elementary school in like 4th grade. And I just walked in and there's a poster on the wall that says, believe it to achieve it, or achieve it to believe it. Yes, Scott. I love that attitude. I feel like we should start to grow a new win streak right now. We just beat Brooklyn twice in a row. Why not go for 3? And then tomorrow win this one. Tomorrow's another game that we could stack on this and maybe possibly get a good win streak going right now before we head out west, because these 2 games tonight and tomorrow are 2 home games, and then we're pretty much going out west for most of the rest of March. So we need to have good crowds once again. I was there on Tuesday night when we welcomed them back with the Brooklyn Nets and we beat them by 1 point. We need to have the same kind of crowd coming tonight, the same kind of energy, bringing it. It is Detroit, but we know how dangerous they are. We know that Coach Casey comes in and before the game and he tells his players, I was the coach of the year and they fired me. And then they went and won an NBA championship. It's real easy for him to get Beef Stew and Cade Cunningham up for this game, because all he has to do is tell his story, his biography. I was with this team for 7-8 years. I did everything for them. I brought a huge damn rock and put it in the middle of their locker room, and they touched it every day. And then I had to move the damn rock when they fired me. And then it was like, and so, yeah, you understand why Coach Casey wants revenge, because of that rock and how raw we did him. And I don't blame him, but we need to get past this. We do not need to feel sorry about how we did him raw. We need to come out there and be the aggressor. We need to smack them in the face. Beef Stew and those guys, Sadiq Bey, these big dudes on their team are going to be fighting and playing real physical with us. And a key stat tonight is going to be the rebounding. Yeah, like the rebounds for us have been really good lately. Our offensive rebounding in the last 2 wins against Brooklyn was superb. We were all over the offensive boards. If we can replicate and do some of that tonight, that would be amazing and will really help us get towards the win. So obviously, out physicaling them and playing them hard around the baskets, battling for rebounds, and then we need to be the team that's an aggressor on our defense. Like they're going to be aggressive in their defense with physicality near the basket and maybe even trying to steal the ball from us from time to time. But if we can do that more on our side, win the hustle stats category with the blocks and the steals, we'll be set up once again to be probably the winner tonight. So that points in the paint, rebounding, and of course, Detroit is not the best 3-point shooting team, and neither are we. But we can win that battle. That'll really go a long way also, the 3-pointers. All right, Kenrick's here. Good to see Kenrick as usual. Tonight should be fun, but I can't wait to smack Cleveland. Oh, Kenrick's looking ahead to Sunday. Yeah, we'll go to Cleveland on Sunday night, and that rookie versus rookie matchup, Scotty versus Evan Mobley. We really need Scotty to come out there, outclass him, outplay him, out hustle him, and look like the bona fide number one on that rookie rankings list. That man is the prime and number one candidate, Scott Barnes. Yes, Scott Barnes. He has changed his name on one of his social media accounts to Scott Barnes. So I don't know if he growed up just real quick recently, but it's Scott, y'all. We got to say great Scott. Scott Barnes. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know if he's dropping the IE at the end of it. Like, Scottie Pippen didn't do that, Scotty. So maybe you want to be Scotty Barnes, but you want to be Scott Barnes? I'm okay with it. Whatever you want to do, we will follow. We will listen to you. You want to be Scott Barnes? You're Scott Barnes now. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, Raymond's saying ESPN Plus doesn't stream from the G League site. I had the YouTube Swee's highlights on YouTube. Yeah, so you watched the highlights on YouTube later. Yeah, I really wanted to watch that game last night. It would have been nice, but it's just I think it's streaming rights in Canada. You can't get on ESPN Plus. It's just it's a regional thing. It's an oversight by these people to know that you're not even letting the market that wants to watch it. Because that game happened in Mississauga, and it was a Canadian-oriented game. So let us watch it too, ESPN. This is another weird way the U.S. messes up Canada with watching basketball. Urgh. All right, let me see what else is going on. Scott's saying the national news is starting to chew on their tongues. Then this time next week, going to be a lot of bandwagon jumpers back on. Oh my gosh, Scott, you are right, man. This is the way this season has gone with the ups and the downs, You get a nice win streak. Everybody starts coming back. You start losing a couple stinkers, like those games that we had right when we came back from the All-Star break. Everybody's like turning off the TV and getting away from that stench of defeat and losing. Nobody likes that, especially Toronto sports fans. And I think you're damn right, Scott, that like next week, if we get on a 5-game, 6-game winning streak by the middle of next week, they're going to be coming back and saying, hey, hello, how are you? It's just too bad we're going to be on the road, because I want us to be on a win streak, because that encourages really good crowds to come in. Like on Tuesday night, we were 900 shy from having an absolute full capacity building. And I want that to happen over and over again. And I'm a little worried about the games tonight and tomorrow because they're lesser opponents. They're not as highly esteemed, but hopefully the feeling of wanting to be back in the building with the team and having fans in the building will overcome the lackadaisical lower opponents of the lower bottom of the Eastern Conference. Because that's going to be really important for the rest of the year. I don't give a shit who we're playing. We could play Orlando. We need to get a good effort from our fans to come in there and be rowdy and be crazy. And I'm really happy that game's on a Friday night, because a Friday night crowd in the Scotiabank Arena is a badass crowd. And hopefully Thursday night can be good too tonight. So please come down there tonight to the game. I'm sure there's tickets available. If you have the night off and you have the money and the means, go ahead and go to the Raptors game tonight and help us get loud and cheer them on to a victory. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Scott's saying incredible crowd at home. Love the gore and booing. Yeah, and Scott's also saying, I've been checking crowds in other games. No crowd like the Toronto crowd. I know what Scott's talking about right now. What he's talking about is that Leaf game they had last night in the Scotiabank Arena. That crowd was not ready to come back and help the Leafs win because they didn't help them with nothing. No, they were so quiet. Stevie Roots was like, these Leaf fans are so quiet. You know what it is, Scott? There's those suits. It's those corporate types that coming down the Leaf game. They're bringing their wheelers and dealers, the people they want to start talking to about doing future business, and they're talking business in the stands. They ain't even watching the hockey game. So that's what's going on. There's not real fans that are coming sitting close to the hockey game because they did not get the kind of crowd that could help them to win their game last night, which is too bad. And yeah, we did come correct. I was at the game on Tuesday, Scott, and I'm going to tell you right now, that's why my voice sounds so crazy right now, is because I was boo and I was defense. And it was like a real mixed, like torn between the two at the fourth quarter. When Goran was in the game, I felt like I want to boo him, but I got to see defense too. It's like, can I have two mouths real quick and say boo in one and defense out the other one? You know, it was a really, really good crowd. And I'm so proud of us coming in there and giving them the right energy and helping them. Goran missing free throws and Gary making free throws. That's a huge part of why we beat Brooklyn in that second game. Oh, yeah, and I'm so for it. And yes, Scott noticed the difference between the Raptors' first home crowd coming back and the Leafs' home crowd when you came back. It was a different kind of energy, a little bit of apathy coming from the Leafs crowd last night. Oh, yeah, Darren is back, baby. Jakarta's in the house. It doesn't matter if it's 10 p.m. in Jakarta. Darren is here with the Raptor Freak Call. Let's see what he's saying. Darren's saying tonight is the biggest game of the season. Win is the only option. See, this is the thing. Darren does not like that we've lost to Detroit and been humiliated by them in the last game we played him. So he really wants to get revenge. This is on top of Casey's revenge. This is Darren's revenge now. Darren wants revenge, y'all. So Nick Nurse, y'all come correct tonight. Get to a good start. I really love the way you guys have started the games recently, the 2 games against Brooklyn. You come out, even the game before against the Hawks. You came out and you hit them first in the face. You were the first team to get the double-digit lead, and that's what I want. And maybe Malachi, once again, is playing again. I don't know. When I looked at the injury report, it said DJ's out and OG's probably out also, but Fred is day-to-day and questionable. That could mean that he is possibly to play, but with the way Malachi's been playing and the teams were playing in this week, I think we can get away with resting Fred for almost a week and really make sure his knee is healed of that contusion bruise and stops hurting, because I'd much rather have Fred completely healed than trying to play through it and making it worse. So take G's advice from last week, Nick Nurse, and sit Fred still. Go ahead and let Malachi continue to get this confidence from starting and playing really well. I feel like we can get away with it still tonight, because some ways Corey Joseph's playing tonight. And Corey Joseph is a mentor to Fred VanVleet, because when he came in, Corey was around the team. And they were also kind of like, they battle when they're out there, and they really play hard against each other. I want to see the youngster Malachi Flynn take on Corey Joseph and mess him up. Yeah, because this is the thing. Corey and Kelly are both Toronto kids. These guys are from Toronto, Kelly Olynyk and Corey Joseph, and they love killing us. Since they left, they play so much harder and bigger against Toronto when they play against us. So we need to watch out for these Canadians trying to mess up the Toronto Raptors tonight. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see what's saying. Scott's saying only way to go is YouTube way, better than Canadian content. Yeah, YouTube's good, but like he said, he only watched the highlights. He didn't actually get to watch the stream. And what I'm talking about is I wanted to watch the whole game on the G League website, because that's normally how you can do it. They've been down in Charlotte and different places, and they've shown those games in the States. Why the hell wouldn't they be able to show us the game that's here in the 905 in Mississauga? It's just because of restrictions with ESPN Plus that they don't allow Canada. So it's a real oversight. They should have understood this, and maybe they just don't care. I don't know. But that game was for the Atlanta Hawks fans to watch their G League team get beat by the Toronto G League team. That's basically what happened. Oh, my gosh. Scott's saying they're locked in. That second game against Brooklyn was bigger than anyone is saying. There's some ways you're saying what you're saying is real true. I think there are bigger things happening with this team than we realize. And it really has to do with our guy, Scott. I am already calling him Scott. Scott Barnes, number 4, is getting to a new level with his rookie play as being almost a superstar, even though he's a rookie. And, it's insane. And not only that, Precious. Once again, these guys went and became rising stars in the All-Star weekend, and they're rising all right. Their games are rising. And they're all of a sudden now they're killing it. These guys look like the superstars on our team because our superstars have been hurt. They've been sick and they've been sitting. And now these dudes are stepping in their places and carrying the team to wins without important guys. Like at the beginning of the year, you would say, we need Pascal, we need Fred, we need OG to win. Because if we don't have those guys around, it's going to be hard for us to win. And they have to play at a good level. Well, we're proving that we don't need them at the high 100%. We don't need them at all in some cases. And we're doing it with our younger guys, stepping in and stepping up. And I love it. I love it so much. That means, like I said, we have so many different weapons. We have so many different guys that can step up night in, night out. And when we get Fred back, we get OG back. Pascal's finally totally well because he's been sick since the All-Star break. He's mostly better now in the last few days. But then we have all of them together. Hopefully we can get all kinds of good synergy going. And like that's the thing. We just want more and more guys to produce and have good positive effects on the court. And Malachi's doing it now. You know, those guys have stepped up their game, Scotty and Precious. And now if we could get Yuta and Svi and DJ Wilson and Thaddeus Young and all these guys to be regularly really consistent, good contributors off the bench, getting minutes from the main guys so they're not playing 40-minute games like they were for a while there. So it really is something changing on the team. You're right. And it has to do with cycles and development with different players and when they're hitting and when guys are getting hurt and when things have to, kind of happen, next man up kind of stuff. Raymond saying, Kem low-key seeking revenge tonight, going to break Cade's nose. Whoa, Raymond Jacob, very specified hitman list for Kem Birch. I wonder if you could get him an email or send him something on social media, get that Cade for that. Yeah, I don't know. This is a good point to bring up. This was the game he broke his nose in, that horrible route against Detroit where they knocked him in, bashed his nose in, basically popped backwards in or something like that. And he had to get that plastic surgery, fix his nose. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to have any kind of revenge or like thing that he wants to go get Cade for that. I don't think it was that dirty. I think it was just some inadvertent kind of contact, elbow or something like that. But, I'd like to see Kem have a good game tonight, like come out there and really play strong. He's trending that way right now after having trouble with the mask on. He's taken the mask off for a couple games, and his vision's way better. He's shooting better. He's getting to loose balls and rebounds better and stuff like that. I really think that mask messed up his vision. And that's why he couldn't shoot for a little while when he came back at first with it. But now that he doesn't have to wear it, he's shooting way better. He's 5 for 7 in the last game. So hopefully, Kem can have a big game tonight just because of what you're saying, that in the last game, they've almost messed him up and stuff like that. I'll bet he's going to protect his nose a little bit from some of them down there. Or would it be real weird if he shows up tonight wearing the mask still just because it's Detroit and how physical they play, just to be careful. So Scott's saying, I get the G League on Rogers, Mississauga TV. Okay, so it's like local cable access. Yeah, see, I don't have cable. I'm not buying cable. I'm not doing the cable thing right now. So, Graham, good morning. Good morning, freaks. How do we break the Casey curse? Once again, I don't like using that word. I don't think that's what it is. I think it's a revenge. It's not anything like that. He's not into magic. He's not into voodoo. He's not doing things like that. Coach Casey doesn't really have any problem with us on the down low. He said that. He has respect for the team. Time has passed. He's not as salty. But there still is that kind of thing where the players and him can really easily have that do one for the Gipper kind of speech before the game. Do one for Coach Casey because of this, this, and this. And it's real easy for these guys to manufacture a storyline and a narrative in their heads as players of why they need to put a really good, strong effort out there for the coach. And that's what I'm talking about. It's really motivation. It's like an inspiring speech before the game that the coach gives to his team to help them get up for the game. It's real easy for the Pistons to do that when they play the Toronto Raptors because of the personal situation with Coach Casey and the Raptors. So, yeah, I hate that word. We in sports, we stay away from that word as much as we can, Graham. We don't want to say that word because it's a bad word. And, you can talk to some baseball franchises that are in the American League East that have to do with the Blue Jays. They'll tell you about that word and how it interacts with things. Oh, yeah, you don't want to talk about. All right, Click 2AM saying we need to blow out Detroit. Yeah, I agree. Why not? Let's make this a nice, less stress kind of night for Cali. Real low stress meter for Cali stress meter tonight. And maybe more like Monday night than Tuesday night this past week. Let's get a good 20 to 30 point blowout route and cruise so that we can give our bench guys a nice long look in the second half. Get Svi out there for 20 minutes tonight and see what he can do if he can build off this 40-point performance for the 905 last night. This is what I'm talking about. We have the capabilities. Looking at them on paper, they've been losing as usual. They lose a lot. And this is the crazy thing. We cannot continue to be the one team that they can beat every time they play them. They played Washington last game on Tuesday. They lost a 3-point loss, and then they beat Charlotte before that, a 1-point win in overtime. They're up and down, but they have won 3 out of their last 5. So they are kind of on a winning streak, considering how their season has been, winning 3 out of 5. So we really, really can't take them lightly. This may be the strongest that Detroit has been this whole year in the 3 times we're playing them. That Kelly Olynyk coming back and them being mostly healthy is tough. They got 2 guys that are on the injury list right now. Hamidou Diallo is probable. He's probably going to play, but he is on the list technically. And then Marvin Bagley III is on the list, and he's doubtful to play. It's not likely we'll see Marvin Bagley. So that's basically your injury report for tonight. Let's see. Scott's saying with our home crowd, brother, we should win. Yeah, our home crowd also, actually, that what he's saying too also is Mississauga has home crowds too now. So 905, you can go see those games now and be in the crowd at those games too, which is really good because they need a crowd too. Like their atmosphere has been really weird without fans also. Click 2AM saying last time Detroit played in Toronto, I think we didn't have fans. So let's see what happens tonight. Was the first game of the season here in Toronto, because that was a close game, and that was in like November, I believe. I don't remember. I think maybe we played both games in Detroit this season, and then that one game was. Let me look at this. I'll just look it up. I can look at it. Why won't I just do that? Okay, yeah, the first game was in Toronto. We lost 127 to 121, November 13th. It was a Saturday game, and it was Casey's revenge. Yeah, we had fans at that time, actually, Click. In November, we did have fans for that first game. Monique, good morning, Monique. So sorry I missed you the other night, but I'm so glad you were at the game, and I saw your pictures with Doug Tranquata. Monique, super fan, was at the game on Tuesday night and hanging out and hobnobbing with the Mr. Singing the anthems, Doug Tranquata. And man, that dude is cool. He's got such a good voice. I love that dude. But next time we're gonna get together and I'll come take a picture with you for sure at that Miami game. Let's see what she's saying. Hope everyone is well. Good to be back. Go Raptors. Wasn't it so nice to be back in the building, Monique? To see the ushers, to see the concession workers, to see the security, see all the different people that we know from going to games for years now, and just having that family back and being around everybody. It's just so cool. I love that. And I know that you were really happy to be back there for sure. Andrew's here. So you know what that means. Let's go. My voice is so messed up, Andrew. I have to watch out. All right, Graham's saying, okay, I take that back. Let's crush Casey. Yeah, I just don't like that C word. That is a bad C word. You don't want to mess with that word much in sports or just kind of utter it or say it in general. So, all right, Callie's here. So excited for tonight's game. Hopefully, Callie has a very low blood pressure, very easy, stress-free viewing experience of watching the Toronto Raptors beat the Detroit Pistons tonight by like a 20, 30-point rout. Let's do it that way because we got embarrassed by them the last time we played them. They really made us look like dog shit. They made us feel like dog shit. They did not. We looked like we didn't even belong in the NBA the last time we played them. So we need to show something totally different with this look of this game. And that, oh my gosh. All right, here we go, guys. Here's the real mascot matchup of the day. Tom Duke. All right. So last time we saw the Raptor, he's like been harassed by weirdos in a white van with a net. And they kept trying to throw the net on him. He kept throwing it off. The last time he threw the net back on the guys throwing the net, and they got caught up and they started cussing in some Slovenian or something like that. And then the Raptor just walked away. He's cool because he took care of that. Those guys done. No problem anymore. Goodbye. And now he's walking down the street and he sees something on the side of the road. And, he's having a real hard time trying to figure out what the hell's going on with his life because he keeps blacking out. His clothes are ripped. He's having different scars and weird injuries. Like he got gnawed in the back by a hawk and some hornets. And, he's just having a hard time. And he's kind of just walking absentmindedly. And he looks over to the side of the road and there's like a car part sitting on the side of the road. He's like, what the fuck is that? He's like, he picks it up because he just wants to look at it. It's just an object. It's gross. It's grimy from the dirt, the road dust and the road grime. And he's holding it and he's looking at it. But for some reason, he wants to, it's a piston. It's like a spark plug for an engine. He's like, what is this? He's like, he's looking at it. It doesn't look like it's that anything. It doesn't look harmless. For some reason, it's like a kid. The mentality of the Raptor is like a kid. That's true about the mascot. He takes the piston, and for some reason, he wants to lick the head of it. He licks it, and he's Electro Raptor, and he shocks it, and it blows up in his hand, and he's like, whoa, what the fuck? It like actually burned his tongue, and it hurt a little bit. He's like, whoa, I need to watch out with this object because it may look a little small and innocuous, but it's actually got some power to it and it's dangerous. Yeah. So when he licked the spark plug, the piston, he realized that was like not smart, that he shouldn't have done that there was some juice still in it, and that his Electro Raptor body with his electricity that he got from fighting a rocket. I know it's getting more convoluted and weird as we go. It shocked and woke up that piston. Well, now he's like, he sees it on the side of the road and it's like shocking and kind of jumping around. He's like, I don't even want to mess with this. So you know what he does? He just kicks the piston and he kicks it into the woods off the side of the road. He's like, I don't even want to mess with this. So he kicks it and it goes, and then he keeps walking. So hopefully that's how easy it'll be tonight, that he can just kick that piston to the curb and just keep going. Because that's what we need to do tonight. We need to kick the Pistons to the curb and just keep going because we are winning right now, and we cannot let them be a stumbling block for us right now. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see. Monique saying 40-piece first fee, 905 debut. This could be something good. Who knows? I think it will be something good. Because honestly, we did this earlier this season with Utah. Utah came down and played a 905 game, just won, and it was really good for his confidence. We saw good dividends from it later, immediately after, when he came back to the main roster team. He played at a better level. So I really fully expect this. In fact, this may have been what he needed exactly, and that we should have done this with Svi way sooner, and then he could have been getting back on track sooner. That's the thing. He's a fourth-year player, so he had to give them permission to send him down there. But in his situation, why would he not do it? And it's really kind of interesting to see. Like, this kind of shows the fact that he went down there and got 40 points. It really shows the stratification. I was going to say stratisfaction again. Trish Stratus fan. The stratification of talent in the NBA and how the different levels work. You've got G League bench. You got G League starter. Then you got bench guy in the NBA. But when the bench guy in the NBA comes down to the G League, he drops 40 points. And that's what I'm saying, that there's differences in levels of talent between different guys. And that's the thing about sending somebody like him down there. He's playing against lesser talent, but that may be good because it jumpstarts some confidence. It gets him some good feeling, some good rhythm. And then he comes back to the main roster and he absolutely kills it. I absolutely predict that Svi Mihalik will play tonight. He will get some good minutes and he's going to be successful. Partly because of last night and just getting the ability to go out there and have some confidence, and getting 40 points in G League is really good. Raymond Jacobs saying, ha ha ha, Alex, these mascot stories should be made in pre-commercials shown before the game. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. MLSE, if you have your little spies watching all the Raptor content out there and you do come across me and you're watching my stuff and you guys want any of my ideas or Raymond Jacobs' idea here, go ahead. Listen, you don't even have to employ me. Just steal my ideas and just put them up there and we'll all know where they came from. But that's fine. Listen, I'll come work for y'all too if you want to. I worked for MLSE for many years. I'm already on your employee books. So yeah, bring me back in if you want, and I can just tell really weird kid stories before the game. And you can have them directed and animated before. But yeah, that's hilarious. Like Raymond Jacob, I don't know. I just thought piston. What's a piston? A real mascot matchup. It's always grounded in reality of the object. Like the net was the net, and now it's a piston. It's just a fucking car part on the side of the road. It's like the car came by and knocked it out and fell out the bottom, and it's just sitting on the side of the road. I don't know. But because we play teams so many times over and over again, I have to give a new wrinkle. So maybe it'll be a play on the word at some point. Like I have a different kind of idea for how I'll do the nets next year. It's not going to be a net. It may actually be the net. So, it's stuff like that. It's wordplay. It's bringing in old references to old media, TV and movies, and meshing them with the Raptor and stuff like that. And I really like the idea of doing like an anime comic or any kind of short like that. That could be what you're talking about. You make like an anime style cartoon comic at the beginning of the game, and you just show like a little 2-minute clip of the Raptor dealing with that real mascot matchup challenge. Yeah, it's funny. Click's got his eyes open to Jalen Suggs versus Barnes again. Like, is it really Jalen Suggs versus Barnes at this point, Click? It's more like Franz Wagner versus Barnes at this point. It's not Jalen. Jalen Suggs is the second best rookie. He may even be the third best rookie on the Orlando Magic right now. And they wanted us to pick him. The audacity of the sports writers and the experts of the NBA to try and slough and push Jalen Suggs onto our team last summer was shameful. And I am so glad that Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri have their own scouting report and their own kind of information, and that's what they go by. They ain't listening to all the noise and all the bullshit because Jalen Suggs isn't even half the player Scotty Barnes is. Oh my gosh. And I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be them. I think it's more Franz Wagner versus Scott Barnes at this point. Yeah. Scott Barnes versus Franz Wagner. Forget about Jalen Suggs. He's a second banana. And Click's also saying that Cavs game is important. Barnes needs to show out. I agree. Honestly, this whole stretch right after the All-Star break, this is the time for him to really show stuff and get on the radar for Rookie of the Year. Because if you want that as to be a part of your legacy, Scott Barnes, you need to go ahead and start giving us the evidence that you are the Rookie of the Year. And you're doing a great job so far since the All-Star break. You have had amazing games. That 10 for 10 perfect half that you had against the Nets the other night is fantastic. And it's that kind of stuff that will get you more and more attention. So you do some big dunks, do some amazing plays beyond your experience as a rookie that look like veteran plays, and more scenes of you will get more and more clips will get shared on ESPN. People that are going to be voting for Rookie of the Year will see you, and they will have to make a really hard choice not to pick you if they are going to even think about that, because they may mess up. And like I said, even if he doesn't get Rookie of the Year, in the years to come, it'll be shown that that was a very bad choice if he doesn't. Oh, yeah. Scotia Barnes. Andrew's calling him Scotia Barnes. Yeah, some people are calling him Scotland. There's all kinds of things. One of the things, if he shortens his name to Scott Barnes, then it's like his nickname is Great Scott. It's like, and he's kind of already been previewing and precluding that by his Instagram post where he says, be great for. On game days, Scotty posts a picture of himself and it says, be great for. It's kind of like he's egging himself on, encouraging himself to do his best in the game later on. And when he says be great for, it makes me think, be great, Scott. Great Scott. Like, is that going to be his nickname, y'all? Great Scott? Is he going to be the Great Scott? I don't know. But it was really interesting to see him shorten the IE on his name, take it off, and put his name as Scott Barnes on one of his social media handles. Very, very telling. I don't know what that means, whether he feels like he's got to grow up. I don't know. I think Scotty's a great name. Go with Scotty your whole career. Scotty Barnes sounds like such a cool name, like Scottie Pippen. It fits. And, changing your name to Scott Barnes, I can understand why you do it. There's nothing wrong with it. If you want to do it, we'll fully support you and go with it. But I don't think you can lose either way. Scott Barnes, Scotty Barnes, we don't care. You go ahead and call yourself whatever you want, and we will follow you, brother. Oh, yeah. Monique saying the 2 Nets games has Scotty Barnes at number 1 in his power rankings. CBS just reads. Okay, so there's new rookie rankings that come out, and Scotty Barnes is up near the top. And they really, honestly, they got to kind of look at that, because what's happened is Scotty is now leading the team. Like, Gary may have had the most points in the last game, but on the down low in that last game, that 1-point win against the Nets, Scotty was the leader, because he was not only leading by scoring and stuff, he was doing huge defensive plays at different times where he was getting a steal on the floor or that big, huge block right at the end of the game on Seth Curry. That's leadership. And what they have to do, these voters, is they look and see what Scotty's doing, like besides just the stat numbers, the intangibles of bringing the team towards a win is totally different. And that's a difference between him and Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham can do a whole bunch of intangibles, lead the team, be the best player in the game, but they lose. But we have seen this week that Scotty Barnes can do the same thing on his end and they win. So we consistently show winning with Scotty being like one of the main leaders on the team, that he should get more of a consideration than somebody like Cade Cunningham, because Cade Cunningham's not winning games, but he is playing at a high level and he's leading and he's an important player on that team, but they're not winning. It's the same thing for Franz Wagner. They are not winning, but he's playing at a high level. But Sky's playing at a high level, leading, and he's on a team that's going into the playoffs. And that's the difference. And Evan Mobley, now for Cleveland, with the rookie ranks, we might as well talk about all of them right now. He is not as much of a leader on his team. He's important and he's a really good player, but it's really, there's a lot of veteran leadership on that team that kind of carries them, like Kevin Love, people like that. Even the guy Garland, the youngster, the point guard, he's more of a leader on that team in some ways than Mobley is, or Jared Allen even. Because there's so that's going to be a distinction that we really need to bring out about Scott Barnes compared to the other top rookies, is that he's a leader on a team that's a playoff team, and he's also playing at a high level and getting good stats. So, yeah, Callie's saying, I hope Nurse runs some plays for him. Apparently he was pissed about it. I think that's all tongue in cheek, Callie. I think that when Nick said that, that was a joke. It wasn't Scotty that said that. It was Nick that said it in the press conference that, yeah, Scotty was mad at me for not calling any plays for him. But I think that that's not actually true. I think that he's just kind of making it up, because Scotty's so unselfish on the court. Why would he be upset about not getting more shots? And he proved the other night he doesn't need to get any plays called for him, and he can still score like a ton of points, because he didn't get any plays called for him. I think it was really a joke. On top of he was making so many points without any plays called on him. He's like, yeah, I want some calls for played for him. It's more like a joke, because if we do start calling plays for him, look out, 30-point score, because he's getting garbage points. Basically, a lot of what he's doing right now is garbage points and just in the flow of the game. And one of his points this week was he was trying to find somebody to pass to, and the shot clock was running out. And instead, he just did a little dribble, and then he did a back step, and he shot it himself. And that's really good, because that showed the aptitude, and he didn't panic with the running out of the shot clock, that he took the shot there. But really what he's alluding to is that they don't really call a lot of plays for him. They don't really have a lot of set plays centered around him. It's still really Pascal and some of the other guys. But when we do start to get more plays called for Scotty, look out, because he can do that. It's just we're not even scratching the surface with that. In a way, we're just letting him run free and play and let whatever happen. When we actually concentrate on directing the ball to him in our offense, it's going to be a lot different. You're going to see something different with Scotty. He's going to be really badass. Yeah. So Scott's saying they feed Mobley. Scotty eats what he wants. That's probably true. I don't know. I haven't watched enough Cleveland. Of course, you're going to feed Twin Towers down low and take care of that advantage against other teams. And that really is Cleveland's huge advantage, is having Jared Allen and Mobley and the way they're able to play off each other. And it's true. Scotty is getting scraps. He's a garbage man in a lot of ways. He gets a ton of his baskets off broken plays or off of rebounding, offensive rebounds, putbacks. So when he starts getting his number called, and it's going to be a lot of low posts, it's going to be a lot of cutting through the lane and making little baby hooks and things like that. When he starts getting his number called, it's going to be really interesting and different, because he'll actually have to shoot, because his first nature is to pass right now. He's always wants to pass first. And one of the things that's kind of driving me crazy about the Raptors right now, and I know that their philosophy is next action offense, is you get the ball, but don't necessarily shoot. Look for the next pass or the next action. And what's happening is they're getting too close to the basket, and they should take the shot, but they're trying to pass an extra pass, and it's getting turned over. I hate that. If you've got the shot and you're open near the basket, go up and take it. Don't look for this extra pass to the guy who's just standing on the side of the rim and try and get to him. If you're in front of the rim and there's nobody in between you and you can go up, don't take that extra action. I know that's what Nick and them are saying, and it's part of the philosophy of the flex offense, but it's looking really bad. It's almost like you've had the opening, take it. That's your best opening that you should have took, instead of trying to push it further to the next guy. So I really want the Raptors to clean that up and really understand when the right time is to take it up when you are absolutely open. Because what's going to happen more and more as the season goes on is the defenses are going to get better and better, and they're going to tighten up. and it's going to be really hard to work for open shots. So when you get that one open shot in the lane, you need to take it right in that instance, Cam, instead of trying to dump it off to Precious on the side of the basket, stuff like that. Take it up when you got it and there's nobody on you near the basket. That's what I'm saying. Oh yeah. All right, let's see what else is saying. Yeah, Click saying Sky was joking around. Nick was laughing as he said, "Yeah, they're really kind of making a joke about how unselfish Scotty is. That like that's not true. He's not upset about that because he honestly they have to almost make him be more aggressive to take his shot in some ways. Like they're telling him to shoot more because if he had it his way, if he was playing naturally the way without their direction, he'd probably just pass it all the time. We'd see him like with 10 assists and he'd have like 6 points. That's the way Scotty likes to play. Like that's his natural kind of way of playing. Let's see. Monique saying Nick Nurse needs to utilize all the guys, not just one. Yeah, I think that we're starting to see the bench get more opportunities and they're being successful. So naturally, I think that they're going to get more of a chance and more time out there. And I really hope that it starts tonight with Svi. We see Malachi now. He's been invited into the rotation. He probably will be somebody who gets play for most games, unless it's a team that doesn't play with any short guys. Then he probably will sit. If they, that's the kind of stuff it'll be. It'll be matchup oriented. Let's see. Let's keep going. Click saying, but it shows how good Scotty can be. If he polishes his game and then he does get calls played for him, then watch the fuck out. Yeah. Click for sure. That's the thing. We're not directing the water towards him right now. The water's coming down the hill, and we're still pouring it into Pascal. We're pouring it into Gary. We're pouring it into Fred when he's healthy, and we're not really pouring it totally towards Scotty. Scotty is. That we need to intentionally say Scotty is going to, we're running the offense through Scotty. And whether it's going to be passing or him taking shots himself, he needs to be touching the ball and either making the play himself from to cutter or just making himself open by a nice move and making a nice, easy, high percentage shot. Because that's the thing I like about Scotty is already he's a high percentage shooter. And then if he really gets better and he works on his game, his footwork, his timing, and really he's already good at it, he can get even better. And what we want is a really good high percentage low post scorer, which it looks like he can be. And it's different than how Pascal does it because Pascal has to make moves and spin and kind of finesse and come through like water, where Scotty can do a little bit of like bump and like turn. He's got enough quickness. It's like he's in between OG and Pascal as far as I'm not totally bullying you, but I'm going to use finesse like Pascal in the middle of OG and Pascal with their low post kind of stuff. And we see more and more of that. The thing I love about it is he's high percentage. And that's what I want. We want a guy that we know that if he's going to get the ball near the basket, there's 70% chance it's probably going to go in. So, yes, that's that kind of stuff. And his IQ is absolutely amazing. It's inherent. It has nothing to do with anything you can learn. You either have what Scotty has or you don't. And Fred's talked about it recently. He talked about it on Parlay in his autobiographical documentary. He's saying that people are either born with natural instinct on the basketball court or they're not. And Fred naturally has certain instincts that make him a good player in basketball. And Scotty has the same kind of stuff. And it's really an old school throwback kind of thing. Leo was saying it. He once again compared him to Magic Johnson after the game the other night. And I think that's a fair comparison. Everybody's saying, oh, don't compare him to greats or stuff like that. Well, listen, if you see little elements of their game and the way they carry themselves, the way they play, and it echoed from people from before, you can make the comparisons. You're not saying that he's going to be Magic Johnson. You're just saying you can see elements of Magic Johnson in him, in the way he plays. And I think that's a fair comparison with Scotty. And I still think the Kawhi comparison is really fair also, just because of what I was just talking about. That his low post is really high percentage with his giant hands and his quickness and his size put together is that, that's a combination that people just won't be able to beat. And he should be able to make baskets as consistently and at a high percentage, just like Kawhi. That's what I'm saying when I say that. So Scott's saying media is finding it hard to find bad things to say about the Raptors. Narrative is going to start to turn. Yeah, they will try and find every little negative thing. This is the thing. We were like the Knicks. They would pick us apart, the media. Like if we had kind of infighting and we had dysfunction on our team, if there were two players on our team that didn't get along, the media would take that little bit of fracas, little bit of conflict, and blow it up out of proportion and make it a huge big deal more than it is on the down low, because that's what they like to do. They like to rip teams down like that. The Knicks media rips down their own team in the media. It's just they want that tabloid, they want that click, they want the people to come and look at their information, and they catch them with sensationalism. So we are a really tight ship as a franchise, the Raptors. We don't have infighting. We have people acting like professionals. We have people that aren't giving any fodder to the press in this kind of bullshit ways by having any kind of issues. If there are issues, they're inside, internal, and nobody hears about them. Nobody ever gets a whiff of any kind of conflicts that happen in the middle of this team. Because if there was any kind of little loose strand or string on the side of our franchise that the media could pick and pull out and make a big problem for us, they would have done it. And that's what I'm saying right now. They've hunted for this kind of shit the last couple of years since we won the championship. They've looked for every little crack in the foundation of our franchise, and they ain't got shit. They can't find nothing. And that's why, yeah, you're right. At some point, they have to either ignore us, not talk about us at all, or talk about the good things we got going. And that's the thing. The stuff that's going on with New York and their team right now is insane. Like Evan Fournier now publicly saying this team is messed up. I can't believe how bad this team is. Julius Randle is a broken Knick. He cannot play for that team any longer. The crowd hates him. He has an adversity that's going on right now, like Ben Simmons had with Philadelphia. And that's going to have find out what happens with that, because Randall cannot play in New York for them anymore. There's too much damage done. And there's some damage going on out in LA right now with the same kind of shit. Listen to all this fighting between the fans and LeBron and Trevor Ariza and Russell Westbrook. That's messed up too. That's really bad dysfunction. And like if we had anything like those two teams' problems right now, they would be broadcast all over the place and people would just be like, la, 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 ha, 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 look at the Raptors. But we can't afford to have that kind of stuff happen. And that's part of the tone of Masai Ujiri at the top, that we aren't going to be like this or allow this to happen. This really strong, sound strategy, because your franchise can get all fucked up by the press with their bullshit. And I love that about Toronto. I really, really do. Oh my gosh. Andrew's saying, Scott, fine, I'll do it myself, Barnes. Scott, fine, I'll do it myself, Barnes. That is an unconventional nickname. It's not really the kind of jargon and words usually used in a nickname, but I like it. I somehow really like that nickname. And if we can get some steam with it, it's not too catchy though, Andrew. I don't know if it'll catch on. Like Scott, fine, I'll do it myself, Barnes. Yeah, I'll keep saying it on the live stream if that helps things. My original nickname for Scotty was the Red Baron, Scotty Von Barnstormer. I wanted him to be a barnstormer. I wanted to be like, the Red Baron flies again, because we wear red as the Raptors. And Barnstormer is a famous a pilot on a bi-wing plane that flies through the barns and does tricks and flies in loops and old school kind of stuff. And the Red Baron himself was an enemy. He was like on the German side, and he was hated, but he was also really respected. Like he was the kind of guy that he was kind of a hero after the war, even to the Allies, because he was such a professional and respected, sharpshooter as a pilot with his kills and things like that. And I like that whole element with Scotty, is that other teams have to respect him, but our team, because of the way we are as Canada's team, is kind of portrayed as the enemy. So why can't he be the Red Baron? And we can say stuff like the Red Baron flies again, Scotty Von Barnstormer. Like when he does these dunks, he comes flying at the rim. It's like he's like a barnstormer. He's storming the barn. I don't know. That was my whole thing I started in the beginning of the season as possible to see. Who knows? we'll see what happens. It's going to be a natural thing. He can't give himself his own nickname. Like, other people do that. LeBron anoints himself in all kinds of weird ways. There's a lot of people talking about how LeBron is real wrong right now for different reasons. And one of them is this picture he put up of him with Kareem, where Kareem's putting the crown on LeBron's head, like he's crowning him the new king, scoring champ for history. That's not the way you do this kind of shit, LeBron. You look like an idiot. You look needy. You look insecure. You don't need to be disrespecting a legend like Kareem with that kind of bullshit on your social media and stuff. LeBron, you're honestly an egomaniac and kind of an idiot. Like, you really need to stop declaring yourself as different things. Michael never had to say nothing about who he was. And that's part of the reason why he is who he is and why you are who you are, is because you feel the need to go out and say what you are, where you should be letting other people give you the accolades and give you the nicknames and give you the prestige. You don't give yourself the prestige, because when you do that, you look bad. And honestly, that's part of the reason why I don't respect the dude, is because he's going out and posting bullshit like he did to Kareem. Kareem does not deserve that. What you post, he does not deserve that. And I love, all right, one of the channels I love on YouTube, I'm going to recommend today, is the Basketball Time Machine with Sean David. If y'all know what I'm talking about, Basketball Time Machine with Sean David, he's a cool dude with a really cool accent, and he goes old school. And he loves old school players like Larry Bird and Michael Jordan, and he does a piece on old school basketball all the time. And lately, he's been doing pieces on current players that he can't stand. And he's talking about why he can't stand them. And he did one piece on LeBron James recently that was fantastic. He outlined every single reason why he's so hateable. Yes, he's a good person. Yes, he's done a lot of good philanthropy. He's, he is one of the greatest players of all time, but he really broke it down in bullet points exactly why LeBron is full of shit. So I'll post a link to his channel, and you can go watch some of his videos. They're hilarious because he's really good. He knows his stuff. And he did one on James Harden this week that's absolutely brilliant. He breaks down every single reason why he hates James Harden, and he thinks he's a horrible player, and he doesn't agree with him being in the NBA 75. And he's like, you know who need to be on the NBA 75 over him? He said Mitch Richmond and Joe Dumars. That was the two names he said. James Harden does not deserve to be on NBA 75 over Joe Dumars and Mitch Richmond. Yeah. He didn't even say Vince. He didn't even say Adrian Dantley. He didn't even say Alex English. He said Mitch Richmond and Joe Dumars should have been on NBA 75. Or Tony Parker, for God's sake. His 5 championships, and he's not on there, and Dame Lillard is. That's just the stupidness of the NBA 75 and how bad that list was with the recent people on there, like Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Dame Lillard. None of those guys deserve to be in the NBA 75. Even Carmelo Anthony, and to a degree. Carmelo's only on, like, if he's going to be on there, then Alex English should be on there. If he's going to be on there, then Adrian Dantley should be on there. I'm sorry. All right, I'm going on an NBA 75 rant. But Basketball Time Machine, check it out. It is so good. All right. Let me keep going here. Click 2am saying Cleveland has been sliding lately. Yeah, Cleveland lost again last night, I believe. They have been sliding. There's a couple teams up there that are kind of sliding. Milwaukee is another one that's having kind of ups and downs recently, and Cleveland is definitely sliding. So if we can get Cleveland to come down near Boston and us closer, and Milwaukee a little bit closer, we should try and slip up into the top 6. And hopefully we can make some moves up in the top 6 to maybe 5th or 4th, and not be that team that's possibly could get bounced back down in the play-in. Because that's ultimately our short-term goal right now, to me, is get out of the play-in, that bracket, get in the top 6, and then try and get ensconced into a higher seed, so that you're not possibly getting knocked back down in the play-in at the last second at the end of the season. So get into that 4th or that 5th seed, and then just ensure yourself not having to play the play-in. Oh, yeah, it's going to be interesting. But Cleveland is sliding. You're right, Click. Graham has another one, Scotty Bank Machine. I think it kind of works. Scotty Bank Machine, like a Scotia Bank Machine, Scotty Bank Machine. Maybe. It's like you go to the ATM, you get some money out because he's money. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that works. Click 2am saying, yeah, in the second Brooklyn game, a lot of players were passing up great shots for good shots. I think the zone the Nets played impacted them a lot on offense. We need to find ways to beat the zone. Yeah, see, I like that they're being so unselfish. We do need better assist stats, but we need to also realize when we have the better shot right in this at that time and not pass it to a harder shot and then turn the ball over. Or like even that extra pass is risky in itself because they're not getting it to the other guy cleanly. Other teams getting a hand on it, and all of a sudden they've got our ball. Whereas the guy had a shot, he was open, he was right there. He should have just took it then. It's that kind of stuff. You know what I'm talking about, Click. You're seeing it. But yeah, the zone messed us up for a bit on Tuesday night. They were kind of doing it illegally, as they said, because they got those legal defenses calls late in the game. They probably should have been called with them for a while during the game, and then they did eventually get called for them. But yeah, it's good that we get time against the zone and have to learn how to beat the zone. We know how to beat the zone. You go to the middle, you get your mid-range shot right in the middle of the basket. You stretch everybody out, and then you get somebody right in the middle, and they get an open shot. So as long that's Scotty or Cam, run to the middle of the lane and just get your hands open, and we'll throw the ball to you, and you just put it in on against the zone. That's the best way to do it. Click saying we waste too much time on the clock trying to break zones. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. The way everybody's playing the NBA now is really tough defense and trying to make people run out the shot clock. There's no more of this lazy ass defense where there's at least one guy on teams where they're laying back and they're their weak link and you can just kind of bomb whenever they're guarding whoever they're guarding. Now teams are going all out, and this will be the case tonight for sure with Detroit. And you have to work to beat defenses. So when you work to beat a defense, recognize when you get your best shot. It may be not the next action. It may be the action you're on right then. That's what that really. It's not easy to figure out because they're kind of in some ways they're making split second decisions instinctually right in the moment, and that if they're programmed to like pass, then they're going to do that. But maybe they need to be more aggressive and look for the shot when they know they're absolutely open. Scott saying, is it just me or would Scotty make the best Kool-Aid commercials? That's an interesting brand for him to be tied into. These Jif commercials that he's doing with Gary, they're listen, I don't want him to do too much acting. Just go on the screen and say one line and just smile real big. And that's good enough. You guys don't need to act like you're actually making sandwiches with each other and talking to each other. Whatever, that's bullshit. Whoever wrote that commercial, don't do that. Play to their strengths. Because like these guys are not actors. They are not actors. But I actually like the tie-in with the Kool-Aid Man. Like, can we get the old Kool-Aid Man to be in the commercial with Scotty? And maybe they bust through the wall together. Like Kool-Aid Man comes through the wall and he goes, oh yeah. And then Scotty busts through another wall and he goes, oh yeah. And like he has this big smile and we're all like, yeah, Scotty's the Kool-Aid Man. I think that the tie-in is just a winner. I think that you've got advertising gold right there, Scott B. I'm not going to lie. That is advertising gold. Scotty Barnes, Kool-Aid new spokesman. Oh, yeah. We already got Slim Jim, Chris Boucher. That's just one that naturally fits. Why not? Let's make Kool-Aid. Get Kool-Aid on the phone. Let's talk to them, Madison Avenue office, and let's get Scotty Barnes in a Kool-Aid commercial. Oh, yeah. And I want him to be in there with the Kool-Aid Man because the Kool-Aid Man is essential. And I mean, I could get into deep topics about the Kool-Aid Man. Like, is that juice his blood? Is that who he is? Like, if he pours all the juice out, does he die? There's all kinds of weird questions I have about that organism called the Kool-Aid Man. I don't understand him from a world of science point of view. He does not make sense. Anyway, Banana Bread Tan. Once again, good to see my friend Banana Bread Tan. What are you saying? Closing lineup the other day. Okay, listen. Yes, the youth movement of closing out the game against those veteran Nets. All those old all-star, old beat up Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond looking motherfuckers. Yeah, youth movement won out. It didn't matter the experience. It didn't matter that you're Steph's brother, Seth. It didn't matter who was out there. We played with a rookie, 2 second years, and a third year, and then Thad Young, which was not a rookie or a young player, but Thad Young is a 12-year veteran, but he just got to our team within 5 games. And we put him out there in clutch time with those youngsters, and they executed. They played flawlessly. They didn't mess up on defense. They actually played really suffocating defense, and they executed on the offensive end. And really, a lot of it was really good good that we got the lead when we did in the fourth quarter, because it became a game of free throws. They had to foul us, and Gary went to the line. He made the free throws. We kept that good cushion. We made it a 4-point cushion, and then James Johnson's three didn't matter. So yes, banana bread tan, closing lineup the other night. Perfecto. Oh, yeah, baby. Callie's saying, I'm praying Svi gets a chance tonight and that he kills it. I think he's so talented. Was just lacking confidence. It's really been bizarre his year, because when he came in, he was the best shooter on our team by far. Like, he won the 3-point shootout in the training camp. He was really dead eye. We were really badass. Like, we were like, this dude's going to be really good for us. And then something happened some point during the season where he just lost it. He did lose his confidence. And I feel bad for him. And now it's like his country is at war, and it's really awful, the things that are happening there. And I'm sure that's a huge distraction. But in a way, basketball is a good distraction from him, from that. And this, honestly, it's the kind of stuff from movies. Like, we could make a movie about Svi's year this year. By the end of it, that would be fantastic. And that would mean that he's overcome a lot of things and had huge games, played really well for us, and done it in a way, because inspired possibly because of what's happening in Ukraine, that he wants to do it because of his country and what's happening there, that maybe this is what could get him some motivation to really excel and play at a high level. I want to see that movie. I want to see the ending where it all comes out all right, where he has huge games and that there's some message about this. I think that movie makers out there that want something interesting, maybe you need to go look at Svi Mihalik in his life in this past year and how it's going, and put a parallel with it with his home country and different things like that. I don't know. Maybe it's not a good idea. But I'm just saying that is something we're all rooting for right now, obviously, because, like, listen, this is beyond like us slagging him from not making shots and being like, oh, he's no good. This is more important than basketball. And we want to see him have good vibes, good feelings, good smiles, and good happiness, because there is so much sadness in his life right now. So, yeah, I love this idea. I hope this Svi gets a chance tonight. He shows it right away. That 40 points last night really is good evidence to tell Nick Nurse, you need to play me. So, yeah, I feel like if that gave him some confidence last night, getting 40 points, hopefully he can carry it over to the high level and do it tonight on an NBA court. Oh, yeah. Andrew's saying Scotty has a natural nose for the ball. I wonder what his tip-in stats are this season. I wouldn't be surprised if he was top 10 in the league. Actually, I did hear something about this. There was a stat that he broke the other night or something like that he does have some of the most tip-ins for a rookie in the history of the NBA or something like that. Or maybe it was the game the other night when he went 10 for 10 in the first half. He had the most tip-ins for a rookie in a game, in that game, something like that. I heard there was some sort of stat with his tip-ins that is like he did beat either a game stat or for the whole season kind of stat. I'm not positive about that, Andrew, but I did hear something like that he is a leader in tip-ins as a rookie, either for a game or for the whole season. I'm not sure. Raymond's saying, I just don't like how some of the guys are not expecting a pass from Scotty and fumble Scotty's no-look passes. This is an interesting thing that we got to iron out in the whole team. And this is a good problem, because this can be fixed. And when we do fix it, it's going to be badass. Really, that's part of what it is like you want years and years of getting to know each other, having second nature, and really knowing how each other needs the ball when you pass it to them. And Scotty puts something on some of the passes. Maybe they'd be a little high. Maybe he puts a really good speed on it because he has to get by some defenders to make sure they get it to it and they're not seeing it. There was one pass he had to Pascal in a recent game where he threw it up over him, and Pascal didn't even know he threw it to him, but he threw it in such a way up and over that it landed like a receiver would catch a pass from a quarterback, and that Pascal couldn't fuck it up. That even though he didn't see him initially throw the pass, it landed and dropped right into his hands so that he could deal with it and do something about it. So in some ways, that's part of the legacy of Magic Johnson. And we should talk about this more. I've talked about this a little bit, is that Magic, part of what he did as a point guard is he learned guys like Byron Scott, Larry Drew. He learned all of his teammates and the way they like the ball bounce to them to make sure they get the highest percentage shot to make it. And Scotty's just got to still continue to learn the way he can set people up on a platter, the way that he can just easily give them the opportunity, because that's what Magic says when he sets up his teammates for success. You got to pass it to away to them so that they have the highest probability of making the shot. And if you're making the shot pass to them in a way that they can't handle it, then you're failing. If you're making the pass to them in a way where they have to scramble down low and bumble it a little bit, then you're failing. You need to be able to pass the ball to somebody. If they like it a bounce pass and they like to spin this way and that they can't catch it in their left hand, they catch it in the right hand. These are all the little details that an assist maker, a really premium point guard in the league, like Steve Nash, John Stockton, Magic Johnson, all the ones throughout the years, Jason Kidd, they know about their teammates. And it could be that Scotty's still learning each individual on the Raptors and how they like to get the ball past them. And some of them aren't ready. You're right. It is annoying because you'll see like, oh, that's such a great play. And you see it happen, but they're not ready. And part of it is they're also still learning what Scotty's capable of, that they need to be ready at any time to get a pass from him because he will try and pass it to them. So it's stuff like that. And also like passes where they pass it and nobody's there, like somebody had moved and they pass it because they thought they were supposed to be at that spot. These are really easy things to clean up and get better at over time. And this is the area where we're going to be a better badass team because this is going to get better. This just naturally gets better on any team. It doesn't even matter if you're trying to develop or get better. Guys get better because they just get reps. So this is part of the rep thing. Playing them all together a lot more and more, just getting more and more used to it. And it's going to get nastier and nastier. And I really believe that Scotty is thinking about it in that kind of micro level, that he really has to think about the way he spins it to a guy on a pass, the way how fast it is, whether these guys are good at seeing him for when he might pass it to them. All that kind of stuff has to factor in, and he has to realize the way he can be as a playmaker with each individual teammate. And it's different. Like Yuta Cutting is a badass teammate for him to be on the court. I want to see Scotty Barnes out there with Yuta Watanabe more often because he gives Scotty a really good, nice, big moving target. Because Yuta is always moving. He finds himself open. Thad Young's been showing this too, that these guys that cut off the ball are the best guys to be out on the court with Scotty because they're going to get the pass and they're going to make layups from him. It's going to be so good. But yeah, that's a lot of it right there in a nutshell, Scotty, the things about his passing, Andrew. And they need to be watching out. That's really just a general rule in basketball is you need to be ready. You need to know where the ball is. You need to be dialed in and you need to be paying attention. And that ball could be fired towards you at any time by Scotty because he sees something. Raymond Jacobs saying, I just don't like how some of the guys are not. That's the one I was saying. Raymond said that. Yeah, sorry. That's what I was just answering. Tom Duke has a sunrise. Is very nice. And then somebody's sipping tea by the window. I like these emoticons, Tom. I did the real mascot matchup earlier. Hopefully you'll go back and watch it. Tom saying, Scotty the human slot machine, spitting dimes. I love that. Yeah. Honestly, this is going to be a huge area where he's going to improve and be like so awesome. Because in a way, think about it this way. Pascal has become this playmaker that he is this year, developed over time. Like he was showing signs of it. They talked about in press conference earlier this season, Nick and Masai were saying we purposefully were using Pascal as a point guard years ago to get to this point with him. This now is that they started the seeds of this years ago when Pascal was carrying the ball up the court. And people were like, why is Pascal dribbling the ball up the court and stuff like that? Well, they were setting this up. They had this in a long-term plan to make Pascal into a point forward, that they wanted this to happen. Well, think about it this way. Scotty is already showing what he's showing at this rookie level. They put in development with him like they did with Pascal over the last couple of years with his playmaking. Just imagine the level that Scotty can get to with time accrued and more synergy and more second nature with his teammates, that he's already passing really well, that once he really feels more comfortable and understands them better, look out. Monique saying, Eric Flynn is smiling brightly lately. Malachi getting high praise from the media. Yes, I'm glad that his dad is proud. I'm glad that he can shut up. Like, just, Eric, realize this. Please, this is how it works. Your guy is going to get time. Your son will get time when the opportunity comes. And they just need to be ready. And don't shoot him in the foot before he gets this chance by causing problems. And that's what you did. It's totally unnecessary what you did earlier this season. It's just you need to learn patience, my friend. You got to understand perspective and patience. that in a way, yeah, sure, you saw Delano Banton going out off the bench ahead of your son for a little while there, but that was a different time and a different thing that Nick Nurse was trying to do with his rotations and looks on the court. But all along, Malachi Flynn was always ahead of Delano Banton in the depth chart. Because listen, he is more trusted to run this team capably without turning it over, without making us look bad, with playing a high level of defense that Delano cannot do at this point. Delano will get there at some point, but he's a rookie. He's in his first year. He's a G League player also. And Malachi, even though he wasn't playing as much as Delano, he was still always ahead of him on the depth chart. And this just proves it because he's put in the work in behind the scenes. He's very engaged in practice, in film sessions, in the games while they're happening. You always saw Malachi sitting either next to Fred or sitting next to one of the coaches, and he's asking questions. He's involved, and that's part of the reason why he could sit for so long and come into the game, be plugged in, and he's already playing at a high level, and he's playing the way we need him to. That's a professional. And boy, I hope that we bought some time with Eric Flynn to just be quiet. Just be quiet for a long time now. Because trust in Nick Nurse that he's going to do what's best for your son in his development as an NBA player and that his time will come. And when he gets that brass ring to grab it and run with it, Malachi. And that's what he's doing. Oh, yeah, it's so good. Andrew's saying, I think it's funny how people put players like Harden and Westbrook on a pedestal when they haven't accomplished anything. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, Andrew. It's they see the scoring stuff. This is how bad the NBA has become with scoring and not really understanding defense and not really understanding rebounding, not even understanding team concept. That team killers. These guys are team killers. These guys aren't teammates. They're team killers. Wherever they go, they bring losing. Wherever they go, they bring a team that's going to be mediocre. They may do something during the regular season. They may look good and make 50-point games, get a triple-double, do other kind of bullshit. But when it comes down to winning, they're not going to win because they don't do the dirty things. They don't do the little things. They're too busy being scorers. They're too busy taking accolades individually to do the team stuff. And that's why I hate those guys. That's why I think they're mirage. I think they're full of shit. The team. This is why nobody wants Russell Westbrook at this point. Like the Lakers, it's done. He's not going to be there in the summer. They're going to move on, but he'd be hard pressed to get anybody to take him because the deal that they had on the table at trade deadline was Russell for John Wall. But look what would have happened with that deal. John Wall would have came to Lakers, and he probably would have started playing with LeBron, and Russell Westbrook would have gone back to a place that he's already shat all over and had a hard time fitting in and wanted to leave. That's the thing. These idiots, Harden and Westbrook, don't realize you shit on enough places in the NBA, you have nowhere to go back to. And that's the thing. Russell and Harden may find out. If Harden doesn't work out in Philly, there may be no place for these guys. That they may run out of their chances. And teams just are like, you know what, we don't want to build a team around you because you've proven that you're a loser. You've proven that you're not going to get anywhere because you're too much of a distraction. You're too much of a problem on a team. And that's why I'm so glad we dodged Russell Westbrook and James Harden bullets as a franchise up here. All these people up here are like, we need Westbrook, we need Harden. No, we don't. We don't want either of them and their problems. We do not. And you're exactly right, Andrew. I think it's hilarious. These fans don't understand the NBA. These are fans of players. They're not fans of teams. They're not fans of the sport. Because if you're a fan of the sport, you don't like players like this because they're bad for the league and they're not the right players. They may be antiquated at this point and they may be dinosaurs on their way out because we're seeing that you have to be an unselfish, team-oriented player with no ego to build in a good team environment. And you have good role models like DeMar DeRozan in this league that show you how to be a pro and how to create a team winning concept or a consensus on your team. And Russell Westbrook, you're not that. James Harden, you may act like you are that with Philadelphia initially, but whoa, just give it a little time. We'll see how easily this goes all fucked up. Yeah. But yeah, Andrew, you're exactly right. They're way overvalued. It's a slap in the face to the league and the NBA and the sport of basketball that they were included in the NBA 75. I'm sorry. That's just the truth of it. And even the oversight of putting them on that team with what they've been doing this season and how they've been acting is like even more a black eye to the NBA 75, whether it's Harden dogging it, getting fat on purpose, or Westbrook just not gelling with the Lakers in any kind of way and just being like annoying. He's annoying to Laker fans and Laker Nation right now. So, Scott saying Flynn locked up Seth. Yes. Yes, that's a really part of the reason why I don't want Fred to come back too soon. Also, is he's a defensive detriment in some ways right now. That part of the reason we may have lost the Charlotte and the Atlanta game last week was because he was trying to chase around guys on half a knee. And that's the weakness that we can't have at that position. And Malachi is coming out with his energy burst. He's all over him. He's playing exceptional defense. In fact, we may have done different against Atlanta the other night if Malachi had been playing Trey more earlier and stuff like that. I don't know. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. But I'm just saying, it's true. Flynn locked up Seth real nice. He didn't let Patty Mills do jack shit. None of the guards on the Nets looked that good in either of the two games this week. So, and it was a big part was Malachi. Malachi's a big factor. And that's why I got to give him credit and be really proud that he's overcoming this season and what's happened to him. And now he's getting the gold now. So, Monique saying, love seeing Precious shooting threes. If he gets that down, Pat, watch out in the last 6 games, etc. This is a weird thing. It's like we got guys like Precious and Thad Young bombing threes. People say Chris Boucher even too. These guys shouldn't be shooting threes. Who are these guys? Well, Nick Nurse is crazy. And he's letting these guys shoot threes. They've got the green light. There's nothing wrong with that. I love it because they're getting confidence. And one of the things we really want with this Raptor team is the ability for every single person we put on the floor to hit a three. Like, this is not the old NBA where you have specialists, where you have a Jason Capono, you have a Matt Thomas, you have these guys that are just 3-point shooters. And sometimes they're your 3-point designated shooters. And nobody else is allowed to shoot a three, especially centers. Well, it's not that way on the Raptors this year. They want everybody to be able to shoot a three because it's part of how our strength is, that our interchangeability and stuff, that these guys have to be able to shoot threes. Kem, you need to shoot threes too still. Like, I like Kem shooting a three at the top of the key. He shoots that pretty good. But from the sides and different places, not as good. But right straight on from the top of the key, he's good for three. So these other guys, if they're in the corner, Justin, Precious, Thad, all in the corner hitting their threes more often than not, I'm all for it because this makes it really hard for another team to guard the three-point land. And they may concede and say, like James Johnson the other day with us, yeah, we'll let James Johnson shoot threes because we know he's not going to make most. But that could be a trick for us because they're leaving Precious open. He might start nailing them. You leaving Thad Young open around the three, he might start nailing them. And then you have a problem then because it's not even our guys like Gary and Fred. They're hitting threes on y'all. It's our other guys that, you're like, oh, crap, these guys are hitting threes now. So, yeah, I really believe this is true. The green light is on, and it should stay on for all of them. Now, Kem's not going to be shooting a high volume of threes, but if he gets open and they're really daring him to shoot that top of the key three, he should take it. I really do believe that. Let's see. Scott saying, I'm sure Eric Flynn got the message. Malachi could be the next Fred if he falls in line. You know what? Who would have thought that you could say a statement like that a month ago? That Malachi could still possibly be in line to be the Fred VanVleet after Fred VanVleet, or at least maybe we develop him enough and he becomes good trade fodder and we trade him to another team to get a good piece because we still have Fred. Stuff like that. You know what? I would have thought this guy couldn't be a starter in the NBA, but he's proving me wrong in the last couple of games that this guy could end up being a starter in the NBA, that level of player at point guard. So I'm really proud of the developments with Malachi. It's not the way we had it earlier this year where we're like shitting on our bench guys because they're so bad. We've always wanted them to all succeed and grow because that positive growth, that development on our team is what translates to wins and better things for the Raptors. So I'm really, really am happy to see Malachi succeed finally again. I never wanted him to absolutely. I was like, man, get him off the team if Eric Flynn's going to be a distraction. Sure. But if his dad's going to shut up and he's going to play at a high level, hey, he's drafted by the Raptors. He's a Raptor. He's Raptor Red. That's Red Van Vliet. Let's keep him going. Oh, yeah. Sharon A., good morning. Always like to see new names in here. Sharon, we're here every morning, sometime between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every single day, either we're previewing a game, reacting to a game, or next Tuesday, guys, the next game of Raptor Freak Trivia. We'll have a trivia game. Come try and challenge G, our champion right now, to get a practice jersey signed by Jerome Williams. The Junkyard Dog is the prize for the trivia champion at the end of the season. When there's an NBA champion, I will crown a trivia champion, and we will send that practice jersey to whoever won. Right now it's G. So if you want to get some points, next Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, sharp. Trivia time, Trivia Tuesday. Be ready for it. All right, Sharon saying, love to see James play without Joel. Okay, so you're talking about you want to see James Harden play in Philadelphia without Joel Embiid out on the court with him and see how good Philadelphia is with just James Harden out there. That is a very interesting brain exercise because you may be onto something, because there is something about James Harden when he has to carry the load, where we've seen what he's done in Houston in years past in different times, that he doesn't necessarily add up to a win as the only superstar out there, that he does need other guys kind of around him to get to that W, honestly. And I think that's an interesting point to see what's going to happen. Hopefully Joel doesn't get hurt. I don't want Joel to get hurt because honestly, I'm really happy and proud of Joel for doing so well this year and overcoming things. He's showing great growth and development as a pro. And even though he's on a rival team, I like the guy kind of, because I felt bad for him the way he was crying after we beat him in that series in 2019. And I don't think he deserves to have James Harden on his team, not because he's such a great player, because of who he is and what he's going to what's going to happen with this team. I still believe that the Sixers are on their way down, that this deal is bad for both teams, that the Nets are, they may feel like they got something really good. And maybe Seth Curry and Andre Drummond, but I don't think it's Ben Simmons. That in Ben Simmons, in some ways, I don't have any confidence in him as a pro at this point. The way he sat out and the way his mental health is going like that, I don't think he's going to be a very good player. And then on the other side, I think that Harden is going to totally screw up the good vibe that Philadelphia's had this year. That it's good right now. There's a honeymoon period, but there's going to be some stuff. And it may be when they get in the playoffs, they're going to see just how bad James plays defense and how he can be exploited by other teams' offenses because he's so lackadaisical on defense that he's going to hurt them in the playoffs. And that may be when they have the falling out. And Joel Embiid's like, you're not working hard enough for us in what we need to do on defense in the playoffs. What are you doing? And James will be like, yeah, I'm on my way to the strip club, that kind of stuff. So Raymond Jacob is saying once Harden gets banned from all the strip clubs in Philly, I just brought up the strip clubs and he's talking about, that's a common thread. He's going to request a trade for sure. I don't know. There's probably a lot of strip clubs in Philly, and there's probably some really seedy ones on the bad side of town that he probably will never, ever get barred from. But that's an interesting catalyst for why he might want to leave. I think the one that I just said is going to be part of it, is there's going to be a friction. James has always had a friction with different guys on his team, no matter who they've been. Like he played with Durant in the beginning in Oklahoma City, and they came back together in Brooklyn. They didn't get along then either. Like that is how they describe the relationship between Kevin Durant and James Harden while he's been on the Nets as toxic. So they may not be telling us stuff publicly, like the thing we were just talking about a little earlier about the press and trying to pull that thread and unravel a franchise with controversy, is that they kept it in-house. Some of the things that happened with James Harden is kept in-house. And that there may be stuff happening underneath that we won't know about for a while, and it could be problems right away. But, it'll be interesting to see how this all turns out. I don't think they're going to be successful. Like I said, players like James Harden, Russell Westbrook, John Wall, they lose. It doesn't matter what team they go to, they're going to lose. That's just what they're branded with. Meanwhile, we have guys like Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., and Scotty Barnes. They're branded with the W on their skin. They are winners. These are guys who win at all the different levels. Those other guys, they're glory hounds. They're stat hounds. They're individual kind of players, and they don't win. they lose. And that's going to be the thing. We're going to see James Harden will fail and lose once again at some point in the playoffs this year. Oh, yeah. Let's keep going. Scott's saying, going to be fun watching the wheels fall off of Philly. The media is pushing them hard now. Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes the media will push these stories because they want that to be the reality that is true. But the underneath everything is not that. It's like they want that facade. And they're like, oh, it's like, yeah, everything's fine. The house isn't on fire. Oh, no, everything's great. It's a honeymoon. Everything's fine. But yeah, I think you're right, Scott, that at some point we're going to see the wheels come off with the Philadelphia 76ers with James Harden being there. Oh, yeah. Scott's saying it's different in Toronto. Guys play different than anywhere else. It's a different culture. It's really a culture thing. It really is. Like Masai Ujiri was such a savior to our team because he's the head cook. He's the guy who sets the tone. He's the end all be all. If you have a couple of different people in different positions, they're kind of forcing their will on a franchise, whether it's the owner versus the GM versus the coach, a franchise player versus the GM versus whoever. There's issues. Then bam, 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 bam. There's problems. There's power struggles. Sometimes two different visions for teams. When you have one cook, one person guiding the big boat and steering it, then you have cohesion. You have moves that are stringed together as far as like personnel moves, hirings that make sense, that all fit together like a jigsaw. And then you get a functional team. And you really need that for years to get it right. Because if you're switching coaches in, you have to fire your GM, get another GM. You have different visions that are fractured and trying to force together. And they may not be the same. That's why I really like where we're at right now, is because we're far enough away from the Brian Colangelo times, the different things that Colangelo players are all long gone. Everybody that has to do with the Raptors at this point is Masai Ujiri brought in. So that's the vision, the true pure vision of Masai Ujiri and what he's trying to do with our team. And that is a real strength. That's why it's different here, is because we have one cook in the kitchen, one direction, one leader, and one person that's steering this. And we don't have a lot of different people trying to force their will. And everybody knows their role and they execute in their role, in their boundaries. And there's nobody trying to come out like, the coach isn't trying to tell them, you need to go get this person or I'm going to be mad, stuff like that. It's a really good environment here. And that's part of why it's attractive for people to come here. Like Alex Anacomto said, this is the best development system in the NBA. He's right. Justin Champagnie had 12 teams in the NBA. He could have signed as an undrafted player. He decided to come to Toronto because this is the right place to be. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And that'll be more attractive for players in the future than places like the Lakers that are an absolute mess. Like the Lakers are an absolute mess right now. And they, in their heads, they're like, everybody wants to come play for the Lakers. No, players are smarter. They understand that their careers are a certain amount of years. And you don't want to go get jerked around by some place that's obviously a dumpster fire. So you just stick with what's good and what you already got. You don't even try and go mess with it. And that'll be a real strength for us when things start to come up with contracts with Scottie, because they're going to try so hard to pull him from us. And I'm a little worried because in some ways he shows the signs of being like a Vince or Chris Bosh, that, I don't know how much his allegiance to Toronto will be in the end. I really hope that it is stronger, like Pascal and Fred, those kind of people, and Morris Peterson, Alvin Williams, and not like Vince Carter and not like Chris Bosh. Scottie, really think about what they did. Sure, Bosh went and got championships, and that was a good move by him in some ways. But Carter, it wasn't. So really understand what you're trying to do with your career before you walk away from Toronto and possibly get lured away. And I know I'm maybe a little preemptive with this, but this is something I'm already thinking about, because I want Scottie to stay with us and be a franchise player for the Toronto Raptors. And I know that the Lakers, the Miami Heat, the New York Knicks, all these fucking teams are going to make up so much bullshit in the coming years about how they're trying to lure Scottie out and he's going to be a Laker. They're going to say, oh, plays like Magic Johnson. He needs to come play for the Lakers. That kind of bullshit. It's going to be coming. And we need to be ready and understand that our strengths are our team and what I was just describing a couple minutes ago. So, all right. Scott's saying also the Sixers and Brooklyn trade made it easier for Toronto to win. I said that when it happened. You know what, Scott? I had the same reaction. You know what? I really do believe this too. Like, in the way that deal was made just for the sake of making a deal, that they're just making up for problems. And in a way that isn't a game. that in some ways you're just like kind of filling a hole, a deficit for what's happening with your players that are problems. And listen, these guys are problem players. They bring their problems with them. And it's not like they've been solved. So it's like you just got the new set of problems on a new team. And now they have to figure it out. Maybe it works for a little while, but like we've been saying, I don't have any faith in this. And I had the same exact reaction when I saw that deal. I smiled. I didn't think, oh, we're in trouble. I was like, this may have made things easier for our path and what we need to do in the Eastern Conference. This may have made things easier than making this deal. And it really was the strong arming of Ben Simmons that made this happen. And then on the down low, James Harden being not happy and discontented and sharing that privately, not publicly this time. So, yeah, I totally agree with that, Scott. That's the same perspective I had on it when it happened too. Monique's saying Jim Sand works with Flynn, so he deserves most of the credit. There can just imagine what he's saying to him. You know, Jim is a great coach. He's a practice coach. He's the kind of guy, like I said, in his open gym episode, he gets called at 3 a.m. in the morning by Pascal Siakam, and he'll meet him at the OVO Center and go shoot around with him at 3 a.m. in the morning. That is the coach that's what he does. He's on call 24/7 for the players to go meet at OVO and get shots in. And it doesn't matter what time of day or when it is, he will be there. So he does this with a lot of guys. I saw him talking to Thad before the game the other night on Tuesday for a long time. Like he was out there with him when he was shooting his threes, taking a lot of reps at 3-point line and just giving him good advice. And when they're walking off the court, there's some of the stuff I could tell Thad was really listening to him and taking it all in like a sponge. People have said Jim Sand is a coach that a lot of teams in this league wish they had. He's been involved on teams with a lot of different people, Stan Van Gundy, different people. He went around Jeff Van Gundy. You know, he's been on a lot of different teams. He was on the Knicks. He is somebody that people try and steal away from us. Like they want Jim Sand on other NBA teams, but we're lucky we have him. He really loves being in Toronto. He loves coaching with Nick Nurse, and he loves exactly where he is. And he's been in other situations. He's seen different places. He knows he has it good here. So we're lucky we got Jim Sand on our staff because he's somebody who's sought after and other teams would love to have him. There's probably about half the league would take Jim Sand tomorrow if he was available as a coach. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to finish up. We're at an hour and a half. It's only a preview, but hey, let's go. All right, Scott, that's a very nice compliment. Watch me every day Raptor content. And I love the interaction. Like this is part of it is that you guys come in and chat with me. You give me a little pearls of wisdom, little pearls of observation, comments, funny jokes, whatever. And I read them off. I'll read everything you guys say. Even if you say something asinine or crazy, I'll say it. And I may get crazy. Like, you know, we had some haters come in here before and we've seen what happens when that happens. I go off on them. And so it's like, as long as we keep it positive, we're always looking forward to the next Larry O'Brien championship for the Toronto Raptors. And that's our vision and that's our goal. We share it with the team. We share it with management. We share it with the players. And we just are the fan counterpart because there's a lot of negative fans out there that'll diss the Raptors. They'll jump off the bandwagon, jump back on, do all kinds of crazy stuff. They'll talk about how shitty we are when we lose a couple games like we did last week, and they'll forget about us. But that's not who we are. We are the ones who stay in the trenches with the team no matter what, and we root on positively towards them. We encourage them, and we want them to do well. Oh, yeah. Scott saying Vince, Bosh, Tracy all wanted out. The next generation will be begging to get in. Yes, Scott. I've seen the future, and I believe you're right, is that we are getting more and more of a reputation in the league that we are a strong, steady ship, and that you get on the ship with us, you're going to go places and you're going to get money. Because the proven track record is there. You see Norman, you see Fred, you see Pascal, you see Kyle, you see guys come here and they go and get big money at other teams. And that's what guys, they want to be better and more successful in the NBA. They'd be smart to come to Toronto and let us have some time with them and develop them. And then they may get a big contract because of it. Oh, yeah. So there's all kinds of good reasons. All right, y'all. We got to beat Detroit. We got to be the team that comes out and punches them in the face first. We got to take care of them because the last time we saw them, we were embarrassed. And we got to remember how bad we felt after that game. There needs to be a little bit of that remnant in our head from that moment. And we really need to use it tonight to get out there and mess up Detroit. This team is not as good as us. We cannot afford to lose all 3 games against them this season. There's no reason for that. This Casey's revenge stuff is fucked up and it happens. Yeah, it's real, but we can overcome it. We always do beat them also sometimes, and we need to prove that tonight. We need to prove it to ourselves, and we need to prove it to the rest of the league that we can beat the Detroit Pistons. And it really is us getting out and being the more aggressive, energetic team, winning the 50-50 balls, winning the rebound battle, winning the points in the paint, winning the turnovers. Those kind of things will get us the win. Yes. And Scott's saying, fuck Detroit. And Banana Bread 10 saying, what's up, Lex? All right, y'all. Let's go. We got to beat Detroit. No more Casey's revenge. You got your revenge, Casey. You got your big 1,000-pound rock down in Detroit now. We've sent it to you. We took it in a heavy truck carrying company. You got your rock in Detroit. Be happy. All right, leave us alone. Let us just win against you for once. Casey, please. Oh my gosh, please. All right, be back tomorrow with the reaction. Hopefully it's going to be a good one. And then we'll also be previewing the Orlando Magic game tomorrow night in the Scotiabank Arena. Crowd, you come down to that arena tonight, you get loud, you stay loud the whole game. Defense every single time that the Pistons have their hands on the ball, you are yelling, defense, all the way. Banana Bread Tan, real quick, how much of our closing lineup can be our bench? From the other light? I meant the closing lineup against the Nets. Yeah. I think that, listen, Scotty, obviously, yes. But, these bench guys that are coming in and showing something, just bring them in little bits of times at a time, not overplaying them, not too many of them at once. Like, I don't want to see him out there, Svi, Yuta, and like Justin all at the same time. It's like maybe put one or the most 2 of them out on the court with your regular rotation established guys. Is I feel like that was part of the problem earlier this year was Nick was really doing full 5-guy switches where you have starters, then he had bench guys, and he was playing like Yuta, Malachi, Svi, all those guys all at the same time. And the level of talent compared to the other side was too bad. So you got to mix them in and water it down with the good guys still. So there should never be like 3 of them out there at the same time. I hate that, Nick. Don't do that. Mix them up. Mix and match. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Let's go. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. If you like anything you saw on the stream, please hit that red subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 1,000. I'm getting closer and closer every day. Oh, yeah. That lineup at the end, Banana Bread Tan, was Young, Precious, Malachi, Scotty, and Gary Trent Jr. Oh, yeah. Woo!